Throughout history, various cultures have practiced rituals that perpetuate gender-based oppression, particularly targeting women. While some of these rituals have gradually faded away with the advancement of human rights and global awareness, others persist in certain regions. In this video, we will take a look at the 7 bizarre rituals that have been used to oppress women around the world. Number 1. Female genital mutilation. Also known as female circumcision, is a deeply disturbing and harmful practice that continues to affect millions of women and girls around the world. It involves the partial or total removal of external female genitalia, often performed without consent, and is rooted in cultural, social, and religious beliefs that reinforce gender inequality and control women's sexuality. Female genital mutilation is a grave human rights violation that has drawn international attention, with numerous efforts to eradicate it and protect the rights and well-being of women and girls. Example is the story of Amina in a remote village in West Africa, a courageous 12-year-old girl who escaped the gruesome clutches of female genital mutilation. Amina had learned about the devastating consequences of FGM from a visiting health worker and was terrified of the pain and potential risks. Number 2. Chhaupati Pratha. This is a deeply ingrained tradition in certain rural areas of Nepal that subjects menstruating women and girls to isolation and discrimination. Rooted in cultural beliefs surrounding impurity and superstitions, Chhaupati demands that menstruating females be banished from their homes and forced to live in secluded huts during their periods. This harmful practice has drawn widespread criticism and condemnation from human rights activists and organizations, shedding light on the urgent need to address this gender-based discrimination. One example is the story of Sita in a remote village nestled in the hills of western Nepal. A bright and ambitious 19-year-old girl who dreamed of becoming a teacher and empowering the girls in her village through education. Her dream was cut short one fateful evening, when a severe storm hit the region. Her isolated hut was unable to withstand the force of the wind and rain, and tragically, it collapsed on top of her. Despite the efforts of her family and neighbors to rescue her, Sita succumbed to her injuries before she could receive medical attention. Number 3. Honor killings. This horrifying form of gender-based violence continues to haunt societies worldwide, particularly in regions with deeply ingrained patriarchal norms. These killings occur when a family member, typically male, takes the life of a female relative to restore their perceived honor, tarnished by her alleged immoral behavior. Honor killings have garnered global attention for their brutality and the urgent need to address this grave violation of human rights. One example is the story of Leela, a spirited 23-year-old university student, dared to defy societal norms and pursue her dreams of becoming a lawyer. Despite the threats and opposition from her conservative family, she stood firm in her pursuit of education and empowerment. Leela was brutally cut short in the name of family honor. Her own brother, Ali, executed the gruesome honor killing. He believed that murdering Leela would cleanse the family's honor and restore their reputation in the community. Number 4. The Devadasi system. Prevalent in certain parts of India, particularly in the southern states, this is a centuries-old practice that involves dedicating young girls to temples as servants of God. However, in reality, these girls are exploited for sexual purposes by priests and other men, perpetuating a cycle of abuse and oppression. The Devadasi system has drawn widespread criticism for its blatant violation of human rights and the urgent need to protect vulnerable girls from this exploitative tradition. One example is the story of a young woman named Maya from a rural village in South India. As her dedication ceremony approached, she decided to escape her village, seeking refuge at a nearby shelter for survivors of the Devadasi system. There, she found solace and support from other women who had also broken free from the shackles of exploitation. Maya's escape from the Devadasi system not only saved her from a life of exploitation but also became a powerful catalyst for change. Her courageous defiance and determination to break free from the Devadasi tradition shone a spotlight on the urgent need to address this harmful practice. Number 5. Forced marriage. This is a grave human rights violation that continues to afflict countless individuals worldwide, predominantly affecting women and girls. In this practice, individuals are coerced into marriages against their will, often facing threats, emotional manipulation, and physical violence. Forced marriage has drawn international attention for its devastating impact on victims and the urgent need to protect their rights and autonomy. Example is the story of Aisha, who was born and raised in a conservative household, adhering to strict cultural and religious traditions. As she approached adulthood, her parents announced their decision to marry her off to an older man whom she had never met. She was devastated by her parents' decision. Despite her pleas to pursue her own aspirations, Aisha's parents insisted that their decision was in her best interest, citing the preservation of cultural values and family honor. In a daring act of defiance, Aisha reached out to a local women's rights organization for help. The organization immediately recognized the urgency of her situation and provided her with the necessary support and resources to escape the forced marriage. Number 6. Breast ironing. This is shocking and harmful practice predominantly occurring in parts of West Africa, involves the flattening or massaging of young girls' breasts using hot objects. This ritual is performed by mothers or female relatives in an attempt to delay the girl's breast development, ostensibly to protect them from unwanted attention and early marriage. Breast ironing has drawn international attention for its devastating impact on girls' physical and psychological well-being, highlighting the urgency of protecting them from this form of gender-based violence. One example is the tragic story of a young girl named Amina in a remote village in Cameroon. Amina was an innocent and vivacious 11-year-old girl who loved playing with her friends and dreamt of becoming a teacher one day. However, as she approached puberty, her family grew increasingly concerned about the attention she was receiving from older boys and men in the community. In the secrecy of their home, Amina's mother heated stones and pressed them firmly against her daughter's developing breasts. The excruciating pain left Amina traumatized and deeply confused about her own body. Word of Amina's breast ironing ordeal reached a local health worker, who recognized the harmful consequences of this practice. With the help of the women's rights organization, Amina was provided with medical care, counseling, and protection from further abuse. Number 7. Widow cleansing. A distressing and deeply harmful practice in some African communities, involves subjecting widows to degrading and exploitative rituals following the death of their husbands. Widows are forced to engage in sexual acts or other demeaning practices with a designated man, purportedly to cleanse them of their husband's spirit. This archaic tradition perpetuates gender inequality and violates the dignity and rights of vulnerable widows. One example is the story of Kemi, a young widow in a remote village in sub-Saharan Africa. Following her husband's death, the elders of her village insisted that she must undergo widow cleansing to cleanse herself of her husband's spirit and pave the way for a new marriage, as per their customs. Fearful of social ostracization and threats from her own community, Kemi felt she had no choice but to comply with this humiliating ritual. She was designated a man she barely knew, chosen to cleanse her of her widowhood. Consumed by grief and societal pressure, Kemi reluctantly accepted this fate, enduring the degrading ritual despite her emotional turmoil. The ritual's toll on Kemi's mental and physical well-being was devastating. Her health deteriorated rapidly due to the risky nature of the cleansing ritual.